Sound check. Am I too loud?
No. Sound good.
I'm so excited about the improvements.
You're like you could probably edit my record now, I would say.
I'd be like, first of all, the
Sounds
treble's
great.
off. I don't know what treble is.
It's the high end.
I don't know anything about anything.
Okay.
Do you know that new Little Mermaid live action? I want to see. Ba, 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 ba.
No.
Come on, you don't?
Live action? Is she black?
Yes, there's a big controversy because Ariel is black.
That's what I remember. People being up in arms about it.
Up in arms. Losers.
Why?
Losers. Because she doesn't look like Ariel. Ariel's a fucking fish. She's a fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even. Okay. Anyway, so that actress, wish I knew her name, she performed for the first time. It was magic. And I showed it to Franny and she was like playing with her book. And when she's into her book, don't fuck with her, right? She was playing with her book and she went,
"Aw,"
and watched the entire song. And then
she loves music, hey?
Loves it. And then every now and then she would go and look back at me and look at the screen. Look back at me. And I'm like, you can sing like that too. Did I tell you what she did? And John and I witnessed. This was the day his dad died. We were both just sitting in the living room and she was on the floor and she has a Y phone. It's an iPhone, looks like an iPhone, but it just plays nursery rhymes.
Okay. What's with the Y?
I don't know. So they don't get sued.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it's called youth phone. I don't know. It's just it's okay. Amazon, $20. So she doesn't grab mine. And at a certain point, Old MacDonald was playing. And as it went to the E-I-E-I-O, she, with the music, went E-I-O. And I was like, John and I just looked at each other and we're dead silent, goosebumps all up and down our body. We're like,
wow. She can be talking before you even know it. That's
well, she did say Dada on Mother's Day.
Oh.
And then today she started saying, but it's not intentional. It's not there's mama. There's Dada. It's just babbling. Nonsense.
But when she sees John, she puts out her hands and says, Dada?
No.
Not
yet.
Okay.
Just says da, 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 da. And she also does demon noises. So in the morning, we'll hear her on the machine when she wakes up and she goes, and we're like, that's unpleasant to wake up to.
Maybe she's being possessed by a spirit.
No. She just likes dinosaurs. Anyway, I'm just throwing that out there. Okay. Welcome to Ghosts, I guess, where two Canadian ladies get together to talk about weird supernatural shit that doesn't seem to have place in normal conversation. We talk about our own experiences, invite other guests to share theirs, and at the end of every episode, we will rate how much our conversation and stories convinced us, or didn't, to believe in the paranormal. So, do we believe in ghosts? Hard to say. But please join us as we talk about it anyway.
So for the people listening, where we are in time, we haven't released anything yet, but we've listened to some of the things that have been recorded already. And what I noted was that you say that at the end of every episode. You've already had this thought?
I was reading it. I was like, we need to talk about this because we don't do that.
we'll rate how much more we believe. And so in some organic ways,
yes,
roundabout, we do, but we definitely have, other than the first episode, there's been no scale rating at all.
And so, to be fair, our scales go off the rails because sometimes it's 1 out of 10, 1 out of 5. We've got scales for everything, left, right, and center. And we don't know what the fuck we're doing yet. but we're going to get there. We can redraft that. We can do whatever we want.
I was going to suggest that we don't actually do like at the end 1 to 5. Cause like, I'm thinking like 30 episodes in. Are we still going to want to do that? I don't think so.
You know what? Here's the thought behind it. We've got a guest on and they tell us a mega story and we're like, Jesus, that has me spooked.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 5. But then I'm also like, am I going to have a guest on and be like, and that's a 1? No, I'm not. I'm going to say, you know what?
You trash strawberries. That's what you're going to say.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, I took some time off to be a part of this podcast today. And this is how you treat your guests.
And
they'll be like,
so sorry.
Come back with better stories. I'm just kidding.
Spookier. Let's rethink it.
Mm-hmm. And I do think
at the end we put a promise in. So at the end of this episode, we should rate how much our conversation and stories convinced us or didn't.
Okay.
We believe in the paranormal.
Sounds great. I'm also thinking that we should try to incorporate someone else into the next episode as well. We got
a lot of stuff to do. I'm laying in bed at night being like, we got to do this. We got to do this. Like we need to, if there's like a new and upcoming ghost show on TV, like watch it, review it. Like, what were our thoughts on it? Let's have a discussion.
So I actually watched the first episode of Surviving Death. I hadn't told you already.
Okay, so let's save that for an episode review, our review on Surviving Death. And we'll have like a discussion, a special podcast episode for that.
Great.
Because it's good.
Yeah, it's interesting. I had a lot of thoughts. I actually even
Did you write them down?
No. And so I think I'm going to watch the first episode again.
I'll do that too.
Because there were some things that I was like, I don't know. But then
there were some episodes, not some, but there was at least one where I was just like, I don't like this. This doesn't speak.
What do you mean? Like you weren't like the story didn't make sense?
I was like, this is bullshit. This
is some bullshit.
This is floofy doofy. Not at all spooky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Humans are interesting for sure. I do want to say one thing about it though, not specifically the details, because we'll save that for when we actually discuss the whole series. But
permission granted.
One thing was that a lot of them talk about how they were floating above themselves, looking down, seeing things, especially like where there would be like hospital situations.
My dad.
Yeah. So I had some sort of tooth surgery.
Oh my God.
I don't remember which one it was. It might have been my wisdom teeth. Anyways, I had to go under, and I like literally had a floating above myself experience.
That's insane. I believe it.
But I just thought I was just super high.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
But then that led into like me thinking about when I've done ayahuasca, which is a whole other thing that we can maybe sometime.
I can't wait.
Some point go down, because I literally wrote down one of my experiences like in detail because it was so intense, but like where your brain goes.
Yeah.
And that's what made me sort of like, when I'm watching, I'm like, were you actually dead?
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know.
But does it matter? Does all that matters is the experience? I'm getting into a lot of that lately. Where like, I'm thinking, nobody's going to believe these experiences that I have. But also, does it matter? It doesn't matter to me, because they're real to me and they're doing something for me. Right.
Well, and I feel like at some point we have to take into consideration the number of people who have had similar experiences, whether that's near-death experiences or, seeing a spirit, feeling a certain presence. Like, I can't imagine that all of these people are just making it all up in their head. It just seems
there are many similarities.
There's too many.
Think that's what gets pointed out in that book by Raymond Moody, is like the commonalities are, if it's enough to categorize, it's very interesting.
They talked about that book in the first episode. They didn't like go into great detail, but I was like, oh, that's the book that Kim told me about. Yeah. Okay. So today, this episode, and today it's my turn to to tell a story. A spooky story.
A spooky story. Do you want to get started by doing our psychic test for everyone?
Sure. Yep.
So everyone, our psychic test is really the most fun thing we do. I look forward to it a lot. I think we should just have a podcast with just like psychic test after psychic test, and we just fucking go wild. Psychic test. Anyway, at this moment in time, Rachel is pulling up a picture that comes to her on Google.
It's a good one.
And she says it's a good one. And I am going to be opening myself up to receiving that picture. Rachel is in Winnipeg. I am not in Winnipeg. Wish I was sometimes, just to see you.
Yeah. Bring little Franny.
And what will happen is I'm going to receive what she's sending to me, and I'm going to draw it on our whiteboard. We will share that on our social media, but I'm also going to describe it as we do it.
We haven't discussed. We haven't pre-discussed
no, you're
anything.
Just with it now. I will draw. I'm trying to do that now. And I get points for if we get common colors, if we get common themes, shapes. I think we're doing great, honestly.
You have been doing better. Like, so
what do you mean? Like at picking up on your themes?
Yeah. You're closer when you draw. So either you are better at receiving or I'm better at sending.
Giving. Wow.
What do you think it is? I think it's that I'm better. I'm just kidding. I don't have any strong feelings either way. But yeah, no, you usually have like yours seem to be a little bit. And actually, when I re-listened to the first episode there, and you had drawn a sea creature,
and you gave me a fucking 1 out of 10, and we had a fight.
I think I gave you a 2.5
out of 10.
Like, girl, that's
insane. And I'm still not over it. I'm really upset about it.
Like, I'll give you a 4, and you're like, I'm not leaving here until I get a 5. I do believe in re-listening that I scored you too low.
Thank you. Oh God, vindication.
I wouldn't give you a 5 though. I still feel pretty strongly that it was a 4.
Sand. It was sand, and then I drew a shark, and it was
had been just
octopus.
The sand. 2.5. The shark. The shark
explained why I needed to draw this other shit, and it was like my brain taking over, saying like, "You've got to make sense of this sand."
Would you accept a 4.5?
No,
I'm not giving you a 5.
I already gave myself a 5 when I posted on social media, so that's all.
You've been posting on social media and not telling me?
You've seen it. Our account is locked down until we start posting this.
Yeah, I haven't been seeing shit. I'll check on it later. Okay. I am focusing on this.
Okay. And to be fair, the only thing we are going to edit in this is sometimes there's really large gaps when I'm receiving or when Rachel is receiving. We're just going to, for your own sake, we're doing this for you, not for us.
No.
Edit those things out. Because you don't want to hear me go in a
like heavy breathing.
That's fucking gross. So you're welcome. You owe me.
I'm truly curious about how you'll do on this one.
Here's the interesting bit. I get things that come to me, and I don't know if it's like what you're sending or if it's stuff that just happened. So in the picture with the sand, I drew a carrot because of Kimmy carrots. And now I'm seeing an orange and orange slices. I'm like, is that because Rachel's sending it or because I fed Franny oranges earlier? So like, that's why I just put everything down. Because I'm like, I can't differentiate.
If I had to make a comment on what you just said, if there is a direct connection to something that happened in your day or is connected to the name that you've chosen here on Zoom, I would say it's probably strongly not something I'm sending you. I think you could just let it go.
I will mention it, but I'm not putting pen to fucking paper on this.
Clear your mind.
Clear your mind.
I literally just had that thought. And the rest will follow. Oh man, radio back when we were growing up was, I mean, at the time I hated it, but it was something else.
Wait, girl, are you sending this fucking message?
Yeah, sorry. No, I have
dark
been.
nothing.
Okay.
Okay, so the other thing was a bat and a cave, but also I'm looking at Dracula from Sesame Street down here, and I know you love bats. So I'm just like, it's too much. I am agreeing right now. I'm not putting that down. I'm letting too much come in. Hey, this is what I'm getting. It's not very strong. It's a dinner plate. I'm drawing a circle dinner plate like this. Here's a noodle.
Kind of looks like a hair, like a pube, actually.
You're a pube. This is a spaghetti and meatballs.
At first, for the listener, it looked as though she was drawing a sunny side up egg with pubes just growing out of it.
That's a plate. Okay, you keep sending it.
All right.
I don't know why, but the color green is coming through.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna draw grass because I see a lot of green.
Okay. Interesting. I'm not gonna even give you a little bit of a.
No, please don't.
No. I gotta see if are you really open this evening, Kim?
I see a construction site. And the reason I see a construction site is because I saw one of those like little diggers.
Mm-hmm.
How do I draw
like one
that?
Of these?
Yeah.
What are those called?
I don't know.
I was trying to figure out the name of them.
I drew it upside down. Look. It's totally upside down.
Well, no, that's just going up to like come down and scoop, right? You did it all right.
Sure. But also will say that could be misdirected because
those are like titties.
They're not.
I know it
looks
looks like
a book with this in it. We played with it today. So
good. I'm glad that with your daughter, you're going to learn about like vehicles and stuff. It's not like gendered.
Yeah, monster trucks we learned about today.
Excellent. I think it's called an excavator.
Sure. Okay. I'm focusing. It keeps coming back. Like there's like a building that they're like building or something. And this is being drawn yellow, but I see like gray right here. This is gray.
Okay.
And then dirt. A lot of like brown dirt has been coming through.
Okay.
And that's it. This was a weak one for me.
Okay. Well, let me
I'm going to close this whiteboard and then you can share your screen.
Yeah, just 1 second here. Every time the host has disabled my ability to do it. We're good now?
Sure, try it.
Okay. This is what it was. It was Jane Fonda's mugshot.
Okay, so
we weren't even we're not
even remotely close. It's like black and white. This is a 0 for me.
Yeah, the only thing was that you said gray. At one point, you finally got like gray, and
I didn't see this type of gray. I saw like grayish, like concrete.
Oh,
concrete colors.
Yeah. So for the listener, it is a picture of the incredible Jane Fonda's mugshot.
But let me tell you, if she had come to mind, I wouldn't have put her down because I was thinking about her today and reading about her today. So I would have been like, that's a red herring because she's already on my mind.
So I guess we can't do that. We can't write that off.
No, that's why I talk about it. That's why I say it regardless.
Yeah.
I did poorly.
That's okay. You got a lot going on. You know, this week's been stressful. Your mind can't be fully like present. I think you're usually very good at it.
Or this doesn't work. But you know what? I'm interested in what the listeners drew.
Yeah.
Like you should be doing this at home drawing as Rachel's sending it to you.
Or like if you're driving and listening to this and you don't want to get into a car accident, like trying to grab a pen or paper or receipt or whatever.
What did you think?
Garbage you happen to have in your car. I don't have a lot of garbage. Kim, on the other hand, in her vehicle, usually has a lot of McDonald's. Anyways, if you're just envisioning it in your mind, you know, it's a good test to see whether or not you feel that I have sent it strongly enough. I will say that I told Carly, I was listening to Jane Fonda on a different podcast. Also, unless it's like a podcast that no one's ever heard of that I think is really awesome, I'm not going to plug it because this, again, is like a massively popular one. But she was talking to them. Obviously, it's popular if Jane Fonda was on it. And she is a truly incredible human being. And I told Carly, like, she almost brought me to tears, the things she was saying. And yeah, like one thing specifically was that females, like women or people that identify as women, like women, they need like close, like women relationships and friendships.
Yes. Yeah.
Like it, like their happiness is dependent on it.
Yes.
And she kind of got into a little more detail, but like, I was like, that is true. That is absolutely true. And she said that the way that men and women, like it's different with men and women, like women, they need to be able to say, I need help. They need to be able to look at each other in the eye and say like, are you here for me? Can I talk to you? And men are more like social, like, oh, let's go play some hockey or let's drink some beers or let's, and that like, yeah. Anyways, she's amazing. And the reason why that just happened to be up is because I told Carly I wanted a Jane Fonda t-shirt. And so that was what was up.
Just like that. Just like it.
Just like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Good job. Good effort.
I was picking something up.
It just wasn't what I was sending.
It was just stuff from my own brain.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put that out there.
One day, because I do visit occasionally, we'll do a podcast from the same room. And we'll see.
It shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't. But I wonder if it will.
We could be like touching fingertips, except I can't touch fingertips with another human.
Touching hands, reaching out.
Touching you.
Touching. You know what? We have to be careful. I think we're limited to what we can put music wise, even singing.
Sweet Rachel Bear.
Rachel Bear. I call my dogs bears because all dogs are bears and all cats are tigers. They can also be lions.
I like that.
Anyways, okay. On that note, okay, so I'm telling a story, and this time it's a little bit different because we have been telling personal anecdotes, and this one is not. It's just an interesting collection of incidents that happen at a rather historical place in Winnipeg. So what I'm kind of discussing today, or the story that I'm going to tell, is about our Fort Garry hotel in Winnipeg, which is, ask any person from Winnipeg or who's been through Winnipeg, knows a little bit about Winnipeg, knows that the Fort Garry is rumored to be haunted.
So you haven't experienced?
I have not experienced, but I've done a bunch of research. I've not gone there.
You gotta go there.
It's so scary. It's gonna be a little bit too scary.
Okay.
Anyways, I am, as much as I find it interesting, as much as I like talking about it, and I like kind of the spooky nature of it, I don't want to immerse myself in it. If I can, I would go on like a haunted walk, but to sleep in a hotel room that's supposedly haunted by myself, no. Maybe if we went together.
We need to plan not to like hijack this story before you even get into it, but like
hijacked.
You should feel hijacked. We need to plan a spooky overnight stay somewhere. And then we're going to not only report on it, but record there and record our experiences. And you know what? Let's be honest. If we experience absolutely nothing, that's what we report on.
That sounds good.
We're going to spook ourselves out. Where would it be? Who the fuck knows? But we need to do it. Like a weekend. Let's just fly to wherever we want to fly. And I
think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
There's one that's like in California where like a woman's body was found. She went missing, and then she was found in like the I don't know if cistern is the right word, but like where they put the water. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that's haunted.
No, but there's like a billion other things that happened. I'm not talking about her specifically.
Okay. If I'm going to go to California, it's going to be for the wine, not the ghosts.
We'll do both. Well,
We will take requests of like someone saying, you need to go here because I fucking experienced this place and it freaked me out.
okay.
Other
If I'm
people
going
need to
with
know
you,
about
I'll feel less scared. It's probably more realistic for you to just come here for the weekend and for us to get a room in the Fort Garry Hotel.
and freak ourselves out.
Yeah.
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 Oh, I love it. Ooh,
So,
okay, go.
Okay. So because it's me and the way that I do things, is I typically give you a little bit of interesting information about what I'm talking about. And then I get into the scary, spooky shit. So around the turn of the 20th century, that's where we're going, Kim. Winnipeg was actually one of the fastest growing cities in North America. It was also like one of the richest, which is surprising because it's kind of I love Winnipeg. I love Manitoba, but it's pretty rundown. Anyways, here's an interesting factoid, not really related to anything, but we did discuss it briefly in another episode, and now I have an answer. So the 20th century, how do we know when that is? Well, it is 1901 to the year 2000. So here's the interesting factoid. The period of 1900 to 1999, well, a century, because it's 100 years, it's actually incorrect to label it the 20th century because that began January 1st, 1901, not 1990, or not 1900 rather. And then it ends on December 31st, 2000. So we live in the 21st century, in case anyone ever asks you. 21st century.
I'll get it wrong. I'm going to get it wrong. Like,
and that's because we're in the 2000s. So when we say the 20th century, we're referring to the 1900s. Okay.
Cool.
You got it? I want people to know because you know how often I've gotten tripped up? I've always known that it's not the same. Like you would think we're in the 2000s, so we're in the 20th century, but that's not how it works. It's like one behind.
It's one behind.
It's one behind. And that's because the very first century would have been the years 1 to 100. So then the second century would have been 101 to 200. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
Also, you probably already know this, but I didn't. When they say the turn of the century, that means the beginning of the century, not the end.
Never once in my life have I thought about it, but now that I know, I feel better about it.
Good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
That it's been worth attending today.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, this has been Ghost, I guess. And I guess we can just sign off.
Signing off.
Yeah. So anyways, that places us for this story in the early 1900s. So Winnipeg was once known as Chicago of the North.
No.
Also, just a refresher. Sorry, I'm from Winnipeg. Pardon?
Who?
I'll fucking tell you, Kim.
Okay, sorry.
Because it also shocked me. I'm like, okay. A lot of Winnipeg's remaining architecture from the late 1800s and early 1900s, there's the time we're talking about, was heavily influenced by the Chicago style. So Chicago and Winnipeg were rivals. And before
Chicago won.
Chicago won. Before World War I, Winnipeg was actually the fastest growing city in North America, as I said.
Oh, cool.
And like Chicago, they were an international finance in industry, transportation hub. Like that's, I guess, how they were similar. And they were, I guess, maybe about the same size at that time. And a lot of the architects from Chicago came to Winnipeg to practice their art and technique in buildings and designs. So,
but like, I've been to Winnipeg and I've been to Chicago. They couldn't be further apart.
Well,
so I would love to go on a tour of Winnipeg and have someone say, like, look at this architecture. Doesn't it remind you of Chicago? And I'd be like, you are right. Wow.
We will do that next time you're here.
I can't wait.
They designed many of our buildings that are in the Exchange District. Yeah. Also, here's something fun. Film directors use Winnipeg streets. There's a lot of films that get filmed in Winnipeg. There's like some sort of like tax incentive for people to do that. You'd be shocked at how many films, like major films, get filmed in Winnipeg. Anyways, film directors use our streets as location sets when a plot includes scenes in 20th century Chicago because it's so similar.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah. In fact, Shall We Dance with Richard Gere and Jennifer Lopez was shot in Winnipeg, but set, where do you think it was set, Kim?
Could it be
Chicago.
I was going to say New York. I was going to say New York City, but
Yeah,
you're right.
no.
Okay, Chicago.
Oh, you have to be an ass about it. Also, completely unrelated, Jennifer Lopez was an integral part of my gay sexual awakening. That is another story, and it wasn't from the movie Shall We Dance with Richard Gere. That's not what got me all hot and bothered. Anyways, so one of these buildings was
Can we pause for a second? Because I
yeah.
did not think J.Lo was your type.
She's not. But like things, you're just kind of figuring it out. There's something sexual. She's attractive. I like pretty women.
Of course, but she's
that are feminine.
But she's not at all your type.
No, but
she's a pretty feminine woman.
She's a pretty feminine woman. And the thing is that it was like this music video. Oh my God, it's a music video that she was in. And all I remember is that she was naked in the shower. It was very sensual. And I was like, why am I intrigued and interested in this? It's more what it was. My interest was piqued.
Great.
Right. And I told friends this not that long ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. We went searching for that video. Yeah. I don't remember which one it is, but the scene lasts. Like you could blink and you would miss it.
Oh, but it had such a lasting impact. It
had such a lasting impact on me.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. She's actually also, I just want to say, like, I'm not like hugely into her music, though there's some good songs like Jenny from the Block. It's a great fucking song. But like, she's actually a very good actress. And I've seen her in many a thing. She gets, I guess, a lot of flack, but she's actually a pretty good actress.
So I watched her, I guess it was on Netflix. I watched some documentary. And it's interesting because she's not a likable character because she's so overly driven. But she is a likable character. Like she's like, I admired her after watching. I respected her 10 times more than I had before. I felt like she had been screwed over by the industry because of her acting wasn't recognized. But it's also just like, when I watch these shows, I usually end up being like, I want you as my friend. But I was just like, you know what? I don't want J.Lo as my friend. I want to respect her.
She'd be good. I think her and both her and Ben, because they're now married and they've had like a upsy downsy relationship. Ben Affleck.
Upsy downsy. Yeah, I could do without J.Lo friendship. She's not the person for me.
She's not the person I would select, but I do think she'd be a fine friend.
Yeah, she'd be an okay acquaintance. She'd be a great business partner.
Yeah.
She'd be a great business partner.
Like, I guess what I'm saying is that, like, I don't think I could be friends with Beyonce because I feel like her entire everything is that she is a badass bitch. Do you know what I mean? Like her whole persona seems to be Beyonce. Whereas J.Lo seems kind of like there's a human being there. I'm not saying there's not a human being where Beyonce is, but
exactly the opposite. I feel like Beyonce, I could be your friend. We would sit on the back of a yacht and we would drink wine. And I would just shoot the shit with Bae. But J.Lo, I'd be like, girl, get off your fucking phone.
Really? That's so interesting. I don't agree. 100% don't agree.
Wow.
But I don't want to slam. I don't want to slam Beyonce because like that's not the intention of what I'm doing. But like I'm just going to bring up RuPaul's Drag Race. Every time someone tries to be Beyonce, they suck because she doesn't have she doesn't have a public personality. I don't know what it is.
Who cares? She's hiding it and keeping it for her
husband. I don't like
and
that. I like people that are very open and vulnerable. That's what gets me going.
Let's see what the audience thinks. and who they would rather be friends with.
Everyone's going to say Beyonce. She's huge. Like,
And
people
why?
love, because she's an incredible powerhouse of a singer, dance. So this is what I want to say.
Why would you not? Okay, none of them are famous, but you've got a J.Lo, you've got a Beyonce. Who do you want to be friends with?
I need to say something. I want you to consider not how great they are as artists. That should not factor into your decision.
Yeah.
It should simply be, who would you rather hang with? Who do you think's personality seems more fun to be around?
Beyonce.
I don't think so. Anyways,
we're putting it out there. Keep going.
That was quite a
sidetrack. Very apologies.
Also, I just want to say that the movies that really, really demonstrate, in my opinion, how great Jennifer Lopez is: Angel Eyes, which I really, really liked when I watched, and The Cell. The Cell is one of the best films.
I'll watch both of them.
The Cell is going to scare the shit out of you. I don't think you're going to like it.
Text me both of those and I will watch them.
Okay.
Or I will determine if I'm going to like them, and then I'll watch them.
I can't see you watching The Cell. It's very scary, but
okay.
But not scary. Like, ooh, ghost, just like kind of gross, but good. Okay. So we talked about how can we tell what century we're in. We talked about Winnipeg was one of the fastest growing cities in North America, called Chicago of the North. A lot of the architecture there, like Chicago, because Chicago architects came. Anyways, one of the buildings was the Fort Garry Hotel that was built. And it was built in downtown Winnipeg. It opened one day before my birthday, one day after yours.
Oh,
on December 11th.
Oh, I love it.
The year, though, was 1913, and we did not exist yet.
We may have.
Don't think so.
Let me do the math.
Unless we were a soul. So it was actually built by the Grand Trunk Pacific Railway because it was supposed to service as a luxury accommodation. It was one of Canada's grand railway hotels. It's actually the only surviving remnant from that era in Winnipeg. So when you come around, you're like, where's this architecture? It's some of it doesn't exist anymore, essentially.
Okay. I just looked at a picture. Can we pause for a second?
Yeah.
I should take notes and say all this at the end, but I just looked at a picture. This is the coolest looking place. I'm so glad you chose it. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
It does remind me of Chicago.
There you go. Sorry, go ahead.
Last night, John and I were talking about our trip to Chicago. We went once right before we found and bought this house. We found this house while we were in Chicago.
Cute.
And we went to a jazz bar. It was a shitty pub, not known for its food. 2 stars. We went there 4 minutes before the kitchen closed. He ordered a rancid burger, and I decided to order at this jazz bar, not known for its food, tilapia.
I knew you were going to say fish. I knew it.
I wouldn't order fish at a perfect 5-star Michelin, 3-star Michelin restaurant.
I always order fish.
And yet I go to a fucking club and I order, and it was green. It was green. And when we think about it, we just we were downstairs on the couch shaking, crying, laughing about the tilapia. But Chicago, I can't wait. We're going here. We're going to this place.
There's so much good food in Chicago. So it hurts me a little bit that's what you settled for.
We didn't know what we're doing, but this is beautiful. Okay. I love this place.
Right. And so I'm going to I'll keep, telling the story in the order that I sort of had my notes, but we will come back to the style of the Fort Garry.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah. So basically they constructed it at a pretty strategic location on Broadway, which is one of our main downtown streets in Winnipeg.
Okay.
It's just Broadway, not Broadway Avenue, not Broadway Street, just Broadway.
Cool.
It is nothing like Broadway. Like the Broadway, nothing like that. Actually, where I work, my bank is on Broadway. Anyways, so just one block from essentially Union Station, which is a train station, and the Union Station is still there. The hotel was, I kind of touched on it, was one of the many that were built by the Canadian railway companies, and it was to encourage tourists to travel their transcontinental routes. Initially, it was supposed to be called the Selkirk Hotel, but was instead named after Upper Fort Garry, which once stood at the junction of the Red and Assiniboine rivers. Those are the two main rivers here in Winnipeg. Anyways, it was actually constructed, here we are talking about the way it looks. It was constructed in the chateau style, making it Manitoba's only example of that architectural style. I think you said it's beautiful. It is. It's a beautiful building. I'm not going to drag it, but it is sort of creepy looking. Like you could see how people like that it might be haunted by the way it looks, I feel like.
For sure. It's my type of place. Like this is the place, if I didn't get married at Fogo Island Inn on the edge of the world, I would have chosen this place. It's absolutely gorgeous. It speaks to me.
It is a beautiful
It looks
place.
haunted. It looks spooky. It looks lived in.
I wonder if this is why
luxurious.
You have more scary experiences, because these kind of places call to you.
They call to me. Absolutely.
Right now it's the ghost. Come stay here, Kim.
Come stay here.
I won't scare you. But she probably will.
Sleep in my bed.
Yeah. So it's actually a National Historic Site.
Ooh.
Based on sort of the timelines, it's got 100 years of history. So there has been so many guests over the years, even royalty. So
what can you what royalty?
Oh, fuck. I didn't put that down. I'm sorry. Like a princess, some shit. I don't know.
Somebody didn't do a research.
I have done so much research. I just did. I want you to remember how much information I just gave you about like the style of the building, the year, like that it was called Little Chicago, where it's located.
Just fuck the podcast. Sorry. Yeah. Continue.
We'll just patch that in later. I'll be like, oh, it's Queen.
It's Queen Bee.
It probably was the king or queen. Like, I wouldn't shock me, or the princes.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Definitely like Canadian royalty, by which I mean like British royalty. Okay, so this is where our story takes place, guys. Here we are. If you were to open up Google and you were to search most haunted place in Canada, it would definitely be on the list.
Okay.
Essentially, it's infamous for its haunted room 202. And
okay, I was gonna say, because I opened up Google and I typed in Fort Garry and it came up room 202, and I was like, I can't. What if it's haunted?
It is.
Click on it and it's the 202.
You think like the link is haunted?
No, but like the room, I didn't want to click on it. I was scared.
It is. Yeah, the folklore. It goes that a young woman took her own life in the room. Yeah, after hearing of her husband's death. They're sort of like
heard this.
Yeah.
Keep going, girl. I'm into it.
So he was hit and killed, but like the details are like different people say different things. Mostly they've said that he was hit and killed by a tram car, but some say he died in a car accident. Some say he was run over by a horse and cart. And either way, he was killed basically in a traffic accident of some sort. So essentially, overcome with her grief, she hanged herself in the bedside closet. Yeah. Though I guess that's sometimes disputed by the hotel, but yeah, like why wouldn't they dispute it? They'd be like, no, it's fine. No one killed themselves in the closet. Definitely
Until
not.
It becomes a selling point on TripAdvisor, and then they're like, yeah, someone totally did this.
Yeah.
I get it. Gross.
So most often guests have witnessed the apparition of a woman in a cloak hovering.
It's always a woman in a cloak.
Hovering at the foot of their bed.
Okay.
And is she an old hag? I don't know. Okay. Maybe.
So can I just tell you, The term is old hag to describe sleep paralysis, but it's not about a woman.
Mm.
So it is
In this case, it doesn't apply, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is like, as a player, like if, I said, I don't know, maybe I said, it seems insensitive regardless though, because consider her spirit's history,
Oh,
so I don't call her hag.
oh.
Anyways, other guests have heard footsteps on the floorboards, around the bed at night. Here's something creepy. Wet, watery steps coming out of the bathroom and the sound of wire hangers scraping around inside the bedside closet.
Very weird.
Also, just like that alone, like I would almost rather see the spirit at the end of my bed and be like, holy fuck, it's true, versus just like weird, creepy noises and be like, what the fuck? Stop. You know what I mean?
What is it? The unknown. Yeah.
Yeah. This is next sentence. It's quite sad. Others have heard disembodied sobbing.
Oh dear.
Yeah. I mean, that's not what you want when you decide, I'm going to go to the booming metropolis of Winnipeg, see what that's about. I'm going to stay in one of the nicest hotels there. I'm going to splurge. I'm so excited.
This is exactly what I want. I want to go to Winnipeg and splurge to hear disembodied sobbing and just sit on the bed and be like, do you need a hug?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to hug you? Can you come
she's
in here?
an apparition. Do you think you can get your arms around her?
I'm going to put my hand out and you hold my hand and I'm here for you.
That's so sweet. And then maybe she would just go. She would just leave this place.
I don't care what she does as long as she feels comfort.
I also want to bring up that as we're finishing up the story, there's a lot of questions I want to ask you. I just want to give you the information and then go back. But one thing I do want to talk about is this completely goes against our theory of being an imprint, which we can get back to. But it's not just one person, like it's many people that have experienced this. So also the light inside the closet is said to turn on by itself, and the television too. I think the light in the closet's really creepy because like that's where she killed herself. So you just kind of want to be like, you're kind of like, what's the closet? How can I dispute this when it's the closet?
I always feel like it's probably like the hotel trying to ramp.
Just a button. There's a button at the concierge. They're like, okay, it's about 2 a.m. Just press the button, the door opens.
Let's just have a loose wire. So it just goes on and off uncontrollably. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think
it's again, for me, it's less about evidence, more about a feeling. Yeah.
And so I'm actually going to go into something right now too about, anyways, I was just going to say to finish that thought off, there was a reporter I saw in like an article where they were talking about, like they were doing their own, like they stayed over and their experience. And they did say more than once while they were staying in the room, the closet door popped open on its own and the light was on inside.
Fuck no. I'm going to shit my goddamn butt off if we stay there and that happens.
That reporter said that she didn't see anything else. Like she never saw the apparition.
That's enough.
That happened
Rachel,
more than once.
I would shit my butt off.
You have to grab your bottom.
Could you imagine? We would lose our goddamn shit.
I'd be like, Carly, you should pick me up. And you should pick me up.
Stay there. Would Carly do it? I don't think Carly would be able to do it.
Come pick us up? She would come pick us up.
Stay there.
No, never.
Even if it's the both of us there and like we're there together, calming as spirits.
100%. I can say unequivocally. I know my partner, I'm going to say she's going to hard pass.
Listen, there's some cheap flights out of London. I gotta go here. I gotta do.
Well, you don't have to do it immediately. Like this.
I do have to do this immediately. I have ADHD and I need to do this now, or I'm never gonna do it.
Okay. Well, once you're done talking to me, sorry, I was much closer to the mic there. You just get on the flare or swoop, and just
see you tomorrow.
Yeah, this weekend's not good for me, but.
Okay.
Honestly, if you came, I would drop everything. I'd be like, okay, sorry, Carly. You're busy trying to start a business, but I Kim's here. So
We got to do this.
okay. So yeah. Kind of in terms of like feeling more than anything, there was an Ontario Liberal MP who was staying there.
Okay.
And she claimed that she was awoken by an invisible presence getting into the bed beside her.
Sexy. Room 202?
I literally have, sexy ghost. Yes, this is
Like-
room 202.
Who is this Liberal MP? Are we allowed to say names?
You can Google it. It does say who it is, but I didn't put it in.
Everybody Google it.
And so she said it was like someone was settling into position next to her, like her husband, only lighter. And she felt the bed move.
I felt something like that before. I totally believe that.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Hundo percent.
Way to use
Listen.
a Rachelism.
We're going to go there and not feel anything and be so disappointed because we're going to be so amped to feel something, or we're going to be so worked up that everything's something. I'll be like, something touched
Either way.
me. And you'll be like, that was my fucking toe. And I'm like,
oh my God, I feel a presence beside me. And I'm like, Kim, that's me. Like, I am the presence
right
beside
here.
you. Oh my God, the light is on in the closet. Yes, I went in the closet to get a jacket and I turned the light on.
Standing right here, taking my jacket out of the closet. And I'm like, oh, it's like,
the whole thing kind of reminds me of The Shining and room. I had to look up the number, but it's room 237. Did you ever watch that movie?
I tried and I fell asleep a lot.
Oh, okay. Well, it's brilliant. So that makes me really sad.
Everyone said that I was an idiot and I just keep falling asleep.
I would never go that far. Never say that you're an idiot.
Well,
that's rude. I mean, you're a moron,
but not an idiot.
I'm just kidding. Anyways, there's a scene and there's a very scary woman in the bathtub. And her story was kind of one of heartache too. She took her own life in the tub with alcohol and sleeping pills. Danny, who's the little guy, goes into the room and she scares him. And anyways, kind of reminds me of that. I don't think that Stephen King was inspired by it though. I think it's its own thing.
It's like, I went to Winnipeg this one time. It shook me. It's just like Chicago.
It is exactly like Chicago. It is terrifying. So I think only a few more things to say about room 202 because there is some other stuff that's not 202 related.
Okay.
Apparently there was a young boy. It was like a Make-A-Wish Foundation sort of thing, and his wish was to stay in room 202, which is interesting.
Okay.
And he took pictures in the room, and when he got them developed later on, all the images had turned out, but those, like the ones in room 202, did not turn out.
So weird.
Mm-hmm. Like it could just be a coincidence, but like
for sure.
Yeah. And she's also the woman associated with room 202 is also said to haunt the hotel hotel lounge. It's tough. It's tough for me to say. What the listeners need to know is that we do this in and around our day jobs.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get tired. You know, I love it. It's fun. It's a good creative outlet. I get to talk with my friend about things that I find interesting, but sometimes I get a little tired. My brain stops working. And
also sometimes you stand up to pee and you realize, oh my God, I had a whole bottle of wine while we were doing this and my feet don't work.
Oh, you're a little bit in the bag.
Maybe a bit.
Right.
It's a wild night.
I should have been putting doubles in my my little gin and à la croix. So anyways, yeah. So the woman associated with room 202, she's also said to haunt the hotel lounge, and she has been witnessed by staff and guests. And again, often crying in the corner, which is pretty heartbreaking.
I want to bring her relief.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like, is that possible?
I don't know. It's worth a try.
I guess maybe you'll be the one that cracks it.
Even an offering. It's the right thing to do.
Some sage, some Palo Santo. Yeah. Okay. So, away from room 202, some other spooky things that have happened in this hotel.
Okay.
A hotel staff member was working a 5 a.m. shift, so early in the morning.
Ew.
Yeah.
It's got to be done.
They walked into the staff washroom and then instantly felt chills. When they turned around the corner, there was a skirt laying on the floor, which, okay, like it was a staff washroom, like maybe somebody changing, taking stuff out of a backpack. That one's a little bit okay. But suddenly a small access panel about 1.5 feet from the floor opened.
Weird.
Yeah. Right around the time that they saw the skirt on the ground. And then all day they could feel a weight on their back. And they said it was as if someone was giving them a piggyback ride.
They were giving someone a piggyback ride.
Yes.
Okay.
And they felt the weight the whole day until the shift was over. I made a comment here. Who would work their whole shift?
I'm like, I need to see a doctor.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah. I need to see a doctor or like a shaman or just
some sort of specialist.
Someone who can help me with this. It's either a mental issue or a spiritual, otherworldly issue. Either way, I need an expert. And I can't work today.
Like, sorry, I need a massage. It feels like I'm giving someone a piggyback ride. Can I call out for that?
Anyways, but after, I guess, their shift, they went back to the washroom and then they said, you can get off now. And at that second, the spirit left and they felt much lighter. They said they couldn't shake how real it felt. Why would you not go back to the washroom much sooner than the end of the shift and say those words? You can get off now.
I don't
What do you think about that story?
I believe it. I know it sounds weird.
Yeah.
But I've had weird things happen that are really, really hard to describe. Just like that, and they sound insane when it's happening. And then you know it's real for you. And maybe it was just like, when he stopped or she stopped to think about it, it was just like, it feels like something's on my back. Like I feel a presence. I feel like something's behind me. Maybe it was something like that,
Like Voldemort growing out of behind your head.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But I will say, sorry, I remember I had a thought here. In listening back to some of our podcasts that you have edited, I'm noticing that there is some sort of repeating thing with bathrooms when it comes to your thing.
Weird. Yes. For sure.
Like a lot of them are like, and then in the bathroom, this happened. Like we have to paint the bathroom green or whatever.
Yeah. Bathrooms and synchronicities.
Scary things. Just so you know, I am wrapping up my different things that happened so that we can, and they're like, and then I'm going to open it up for any questions. We can do that shortly.
Okay.
But yeah, apparently the entire second floor of the Fort Garry Hotel has a paranormal reputation. So it's not just 202.
Okay.
Employees have reported seeing the ghost of a young woman dressed in a robe walking down the hallway, which seems to be different than the woman in the cloak because she is a woman and she's wearing a ball gown, reported wearing a ball gown, which is different than a cloak.
Very different.
And so like the spirit lady in a white ball gown, basically the hotel found proof that a Lady Macmillan dressed in a white laced broad catted, whatever that means, gown did stay in the room for the December 10th, 1913 grand opening.
December 10th, my birthday.
Yeah. Which is weird because didn't they say it was, did I fuck this up?
You said
No,
December
it said
11th.
that
It opened.
it said that it was December 11th, and then this says December 10th. Someone hasn't checked their facts.
Well, maybe they had like a soft opening. You know how there's always like that thing the night before?
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
This is a calling. It happened on my birthday and so close to our birthdays. We're meant to be there.
I think so. And so
I'm
my
gonna
question
contact
here,
the hotel.
you should. They also have an amazing brunch, which we can go to after.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So my question I had here was that an imprint only, right? Because she stayed there. She's just there in a white gown, in a white ball gown.
Yeah. I don't think there's an active trapped energy. I think there's an imprint of someone that, you know, potentially they walked the hallways and then now we're just tapping into when that woman walked the hallway. Like you're seeing something that happened years and years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think is going on.
Mm-hmm. I want to come back to that to rediscuss the woman in room 202, but I just want to give you the last few stories here.
Okay.
In 1989, there was a hotel employee. They were cleaning the kitchen overnight, and he had gone up the back stairway around 4 a.m. and he heard strange sounds from the locked dining room. So he went to get the key, and upon opening the door, he witnessed what looked like the figure of a man sitting at a table. And he ran to get another staff member to show them what he had seen. But when they returned, the figure had vanished. Mm-hmm. It all seems to be happening like, you know, not a lot of people are around. It's like 4 or 5 in the morning. I don't know.
It's because when you're centered and in your zone, you're opening up to other things. You're allowing other things in. Yeah. That's what I think happens.
And you're less busyness of your life means that you are like noticing things more.
Less people around means less distractions. Less consciousness that you have to align to experience the same thing. Or like if you're just in yourself, it's just one thing that needs to align with
totally.
that
I think it also
moment.
I think it also do the fact that like you have to give, like you as a human being are just basically a ball of energy that exists, and you have to give out that energy. So if there's a lot of people around, your energy is like real thin and dispersed out to lots of people. But when it's just you, then like, I don't know. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like you can, if you have more to.
And if it's me and you, we're going to be on the same wavelength, trying to tap into the same type of thing. And our whole energies are going to be going toward that. So I think we could have a shared experience.
What's that crazy guy from the Ghost Show that you said his name? Do you remember?
I don't know, but I'm going to do a review of his Zach Baggins.
Yeah. We should get him with us to go to Fort Garry. No,
because he would just fucking... No,
he'd take a whole bunch of cocaine before we went. And just to be clear, like, I don't want to like spread rumors. It's just that like the way that people are when they're on cocaine is very similar to the
stereotype. Yeah. Stereotype. He is not, we're not saying that. It's just, we're making light of his energy.
Also, we're making light of addiction, which is not a funny thing.
Oh shit. No.
So some of the other ghosts, I'm going to give these out here. There was a spectral singer that was seen in the Palm Lounge. They said that was a ghost of a long dead performer who had allegedly been shot in the head. Some people reported feeling a physical pain in their head when the ghost was nearby.
That's just wine.
In the Broadway room, staff and guests have also reported sightings of a phantom diner, which could connect to that last story I told. In the Provencher ballroom, there were sightings of just a man in a kilt.
Sweet.
I'm going to assume a ghost, not just a man visiting from Scotland in a kilt.
Sweet.
Also, the hotel literature also reveals how the current owner used to live at the Fort Garry with her husband. And she once awoke to see him enter the room after a fight and sit on the bed. But when she rolled over to speak to him, he wasn't actually there, which made me think about your John imprint.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
This whole thing has me absolutely convinced this hotel is on a site where you're just capable of, more easily opening up to things that had happened previously and seeing them, and just kind of the blending of realities.
I think it probably has a lot to do with how old the building is, like how much action it's seen, how many people have come in and out over the last 100 years. Just like that number of turnover for such a long time.
Sure.
Yeah. There was an overnight security guard recently. I don't know how recent, it didn't give a year.
Turn of the century recent, or?
No, I'm thinking like probably like 1990s or early 2000s, the aughts.
The aughts.
Yeah. But they recently found 10 candles on the floor in the shape of a star.
Ew.
Do they mean a pentagram? In a locked ballroom on a night when there were no events in it.
That's just because kids broke in and did some weird shit. I don't believe it. Oh, I believe it, but I believe it was like someone up to spooky dumb shit.
Yeah, could be. But it was a locked ballroom. Like it would depend on like were there windows that the children could get into?
I could get into a locked. Yes.
Okay. And then relock it.
Yeah. I don't.
Anyways, that's kind of like I think that's plenty, but that's a lot of different stories of sightings that happened at the Fort Garry Hotel. Yeah. So it seems to be that a lot of hotels have hauntings in them. And like I put here, it makes sense. There's a lot of turnover, especially in hotels that have been around a long time. But what do you think, Kim? What do you believe?
Girl, I already told you throughout. I think this is a particularly unique physical space where people are able to tap into time past and images and glimpses of time past. I don't think there's like an active energy that's just like, oh, I'm so sad walking up and down the halls. I think if you see something like that, you're seeing something that happened a long, long, long time ago, and you're just tapping into it.
So you think the lady in room 202, like, because like in that one, okay, basically
people in that space there's something about that space that opens up, maybe the physical location, geographic, look at whatever, that opens up to be able to see her.
Well, what's interesting to me about that one, which I feel pokes a couple holes in our theory, like all of the other examples that I gave that were not room 202 related and to do with this particular instance and this particular spirit, they're all just like, oh, I saw this. Oh, I saw that. So those are like isolated, like the woman in the white lace the white lace gown, like the woman in the wedding, the white ball gown. Like to me, that really lends into the imprint theory because you're just seeing this woman. That's it. But it's not one thing that people have experienced in 202. It's not like you just see the lady in the cloak at your bed. Like there's multiple scary shit. One thing I didn't say actually that was, and I don't know. Staff members have reported seeing blood dripping down the walls. So super chill.
It's a great place to start.
I'll be honest, that one I was kind of like, so this is a woman who hung herself. Why is there blood dripping down the walls?
I don't know.
It just seems a bit like to decide.
I just think that like there's something about the physical location of this room that when you get in there, you're opening yourself up to see, like, the light turned on because you're seeing something that happened years and years ago. Or you're connecting those two parallel universes. I don't know.
I wonder if that being in that location, like everything that you're saying, how it like, because it seems to be more of a conduit or an open, however you want to say it. I'm wondering if that played in to her suicide. Like, was she feeling
maybe hypersensitized,
overwhelming feelings,
images herself? But yeah, who knows, man? Maybe.
Yeah,
we've just got to experience it ourselves. We've got to go there.
I guess so. Yeah.
Part 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also too, kind of what we said, like when there are so many reported sightings of weird goings on, it kind of feels like it's hard to dispute. It also just feels like you would be an ignorant person to be like, nah, no, they're all making it up. Like I feel like the proof is in how many reports there are. But, could a cynic or a skeptic, could they say, oh, well, one person says it and then everyone's like, oh, I saw this or I heard that. I don't know.
You know what? I just think you need to experience this stuff yourself.
Yeah.
You do. You need to open up your chest a bit.
Open up your legs. Let it in. Don't have sex with a ghost.
Or do. Like, I don't judge.
Well, I'm just thinking of American Horror Story, the very first season, where like
I never watched that. Oh, don't give it away for people. It's a spoiler.
God. It's so many years ago now.
Spoiler.
She has the spawn of Satan. Spawn of Satan grows on her belly.
I'm going to cut that out because maybe someday I wanted to watch that.
Maybe you should have watched it 10 years ago.
Yeah, but that's how things go these days. We don't all sit down on Wednesday nights to watch the show that comes on the television. Catch up on things on Netflix.
Every night, Carly's like, so what do you want to watch? And like, my mind goes blank and I'm like, what are we even watching? But we were watching like 5,000 things.
Yes, of course.
And yet all I can remember is, I don't know, Sister Wives, because that's what we've been watching.
Oh, I need to catch up on that.
But like, that's not all we're watching. We're watching so many things. And yet my mind goes blank.
You should keep a list.
Yeah, we should. We should have a tally. Do you, Kim, have any scary ghost stories from staying at hotels?
No. One time, John and I stayed at a terrible hotel.
Was the tilapia green?
No, but like, it was the most embarrassing place on earth. And it was in my hometown. And like, they had a continental breakfast, quote unquote. And like, we went downstairs and it was like someone opened a desk drawer and pulled out a muffin, a blueberry muffin, and like put it in a basket.
How long was it in the drawer?
They were like, this is continental breakfast. And we're like, oh, thank you. And then the next morning, this same blueberry muffin was there. And we're like, do they just keep it in the drawer? Because there's no kitchen, there's no restaurant. And when I looked closer at the blueberry muffin, it was mold. It was mold. It was a blueberry. It was mold.
This is not at all related to ghosts. I have a feeling it's going in that direction, but I do want to just, because we're on this, I just want to, have you ever, it's usually when you're in the States and you're going to like more the budget hotels, which I don't do that anymore. Since Airbnb, I don't do that anymore, but they would have those breakfasts and
the waffle maker.
Yeah. Which were amazing. I loved the waffle maker.
Yes.
But what they would often have is hard-boiled eggs. Just like in a plastic, I love hard-boiled eggs, but like in a little plastic container with a lid. And they always looked gray. And as much as I loved hard-boiled eggs, I could never bring myself to eat one of those. I was like, I'm going to become horribly, even as a child, even as a young adult, going places with my family. Even then I was like, if I eat this gray egg,
sick.
I'm going to die.
There is a jar downstairs in my kitchen, and I don't want to underestimate. Like when I say a jar, you're thinking like, oh, pickle jar, mayonnaise jar. No, there is a jar on my kitchen counter holding 4 dozen hard-boiled eggs
Oh my
that are
God.
currently being pickled
Incredible.
that John's mom made for him. And I'm just going to go down and eat like 6 immediately after this. Also, when I was in St. John's for a school trip, we went to this like spooky hotel place. I need to figure out where we went, but they were giving us a tour of this old place in St. John's. And they were telling us it wasn't a haunted, spooky tour. It was like historical, but the tour guide was asked the question, like, have you ever seen a ghost? And she was just like caught off guard. And she was like, actually, I haven't seen anything and I've been here for 10 years. But one day I felt really uncomfortable and I went into this main room and it was like a main room where a main guy was supposed to have lived.
Mm-hmm.
And everything's like really pristine. Like the bed is really pristine. And I felt someone in there and I turned around. And then when I looked back, the sheets had moved, like the imprint of someone sitting on the edge of the bed.
Ugh.
And like shook the sheets. And she's like, I didn't feel very good after I saw that. And it was very uncomfortable. So that's the spookiest story I have of a hotel.
Was there a spooky story that went along with the blueberry muffin?
No, just a spooky moldy muffin.
All right. I'm going to tell just kind of like a quick little funny, I guess, to wrap it up. Leave it on like a funny note. My sister and I, we were traveling with my family. We went and we did this trip from Winnipeg to Vancouver. We drove. And so a lot of the times we were camping, but occasionally, because like my family didn't have a great deal of money, we weren't in a hotel every night, but I think they had like 1 or 2 that they had booked there and 1 or 2 that they had booked back just so that we could have like a nice bed and a proper shower and all that. So we stayed over and my mom is just nuts in the morning, especially with those continental breakfasts. And she's like, come on, we got to get up, get yourself ready or you're going to miss breakfast. And we're like, relax. We'll make breakfast.
It's an egg in a bowl. It's a gray egg in a bowl.
And a muffin with fucking mold on it. Okay. No one wants that. But there is that waffle maker. So I'll be down to eat some of that. Anyways. So they left. They went downstairs. By they, I mean my mom and my stepdad. Because mom was going to miss breakfast if she didn't get down there right away. So Leah and I are getting ready. And we were in the bathroom of the hotel, both putting our makeup, like we're leaning against the mirror, putting our makeup on, chit-chatting. And then there was this quiet moment and we heard just a whisper, excuse me.
Okay.
And we both looked at each other. And I was like, you heard that, right? And it wasn't like we were hearing it like from a wall. Like, it's not like the bathroom was up against another wall from another room that we could hear like through the wall. The voice was in the bathroom with us.
Creepy.
It was a very polite ghost.
Someone just sitting on the toilet being like, excuse me. I'm gonna take a pee. Does anyone have a tampon?
I can't hear you. I hope that
Diva cup.
Diva. Yeah. I've run out of toilet paper. I have really bad diarrhea and I just have to get to the toilet. Excuse me. Anyways. So yeah, my sister and I talk about it and we laugh about it because it's kind of funny, but it was creepy and we both heard it. So was that like an imprint of my mom, like the day before?
Being like,
excuse me.
Eggs. Go get your fucking eggs, Rachel. I paid extra for continental breakfast.
Excuse me. We're going to miss breakfast. Gotta get down there. Yeah. Anyways.
Great.
There you go.
Great.
That's all I have for you today.
I loved it. So we said that we were going to rate.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that whole debacle?
Mhm.
Let's just rate how much it convinced us.
I mean, it
So
didn't.
without having been there, is the story convincing? What do you think?
Okay, so I feel like we're asking two separate questions. I want clarity, because does this impact how you think about ghosts? I think was the original scale of what we were going to measure. Like, does this change? Like, are you more or less believing of ghosts? That was the one thing we were going to say. This one is this a plausible story? Which I think are two different things. So what are you asking?
So
what are we doing today?
How much did this story convince you to believe in the paranormal?
I don't think it impacted how I already rate. I feel like 4 is where I'm at, and that this
I love the
doesn't-
arbitrary numbers. I had an ex-boyfriend once who, like,
I still laugh about this. You had to be there moment, but like, he didn't know anything about anything, and he went in to get some deli meat, and they were like shaving it off. I don't know why this is so funny to me. But they were like, okay, how much do you want? It's like 100 grams, 200 grams.
Yeah.
And they were like shaving it off, and they were like, how much do you want? And he was like, I don't know, 8.
8 what?
Anyway,
slices.
Anyway, your number is 4 on a scale of 5.
I think it was 1 to 5. So like, I believe pretty strongly that ghosts are a thing, but that it is probably, I believe in ghosts. Does this impact that one way or the other? No.
Does it reinforce it or like confirm what you believe?
Yeah, I think it really came down to, there's moments when I was reading through the different stories and the different examples, and I was like, okay. But then there were ones where I was like, oh, that's creepy. And then it just kind of came down to like what I said, which is like, this is not like one sighting. This is like multiple years of sightings. And it's kind of like, I feel like it'd be a little bit ignorant to pretend that this couldn't be like that these people are lying, that this is all a facade. This
is really weird too, because it's just like, if something confirms, I just put everything in the context of what I believe and what I know. So if it fits that context, I'm like, yeah, I believe it because this is what I believe. And it fits. But if there's something that like if there's an example that's given to me that doesn't fit my theory or my framework of ghosts, I'm just like, no, it wasn't real. Like when you're talking about like the candles, I'm like, no, it's not real. So I'm a bad example.
But that was like one of many stories. So what do you think?
I really feel like it definitely is a place where you could go and tap into something paranormal. Whether that is an active spirit roaming around, don't think so for me personally. Or if it's just like you're just tapping into another level of existence that already occurred or is occurring. Like, I think it's a heightened place.
And so then it just like your opinion on whether ghost exists it's basically where it was before.
Exactly the same.
Dope.
Exactly the same.
I'm losing steam.
I've got to go eat some pickled eggs. I got to eat pickled. Like the second you started talking about gray eggs, I was like, fuck this podcast. I need some fucking pickled eggs. I got to go put my hand in that jar. I got to take a picture of this jar of 4 dozen. 4 dozen.
That is a lot
on my countertop. And I'm like, who's going to eat all these fucking eggs? I'm going to do it right now.
100%. If someone gave me 4 dozen pickles, they would be done in like 3 weeks.
Great. Yeah.
I just love pickles. So like pickled eggs, you know.
I get pickle porn on Instagram, where I call it my pickle porn, where I'm sure you're just liking all these videos and it keeps sending it to my algorithm. But it's just like someone zooming in on a frying pan where they're melting cheese, and then they've put
Yeah.
a pickle on it, and
I've
then
seen that
warming
one.
it up, and then hot Cheetos. Yeah,
Yeah,
you've
I've seen
seen
that
it
one.
because that's why I've seen it. I'm like, why am I getting pickle porn? Oh, Rachel's at it again.
And my sister as well. And then she'll
Oh,
send it to
yes.
me.
Yeah, well, I'm getting it too.
The best
go
one I
ahead.
saw was like there's some restaurant in the States. I'd have to Google to figure out where, but they make a pickle pizza and it just looked
Oh.
like the most, and they have this some sort of like garlic
Oh, great.
sauce that they put on top of it, and it just looked like the best thing I've ever seen. And I want it so badly.
There is a place in town that specializes in pizza, and they do have a pickle pizza.
And you haven't
However,
taken me? What the hell?
No, because actually you and I have gone to one of their partner restaurants. We did enjoy parts of it, but they are very known in my brain. They're just a little too extra. They're a little too, as John would say. So everything's too rich, too much. And I find it not to be balanced and enjoyable. It's like they're trying too hard. And so that's why I haven't.
Is this a place that went to Toronto and like stole their?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. How did you know that? Yes. Yeah.
Because you said that we went there, and then you described that it was too much, and then I just knew. I just knew.
We're not going to tell the names, but like this is what they do. Okay. I'm going to sign off and
Peace.
Go
Thanks
eat some
listening.
pickles. I'll send you some pictures, and we'll see everyone on the flip side. Bye.
Bye.